Hey everybody, this is an instructional video for our Peabody's plant kits. So, very simple here. I included an instruction list with every plant kit so that you can do this without having to watch this video, but it does help to see a visual on what's going on. So we're going to do this plant kit. This is the medium size. There's a small up here just for reference, and then a large. So this is the medium one. It's like right in between. And this is what you'll get when you get the kit. You get the substrate mix, and then also you have this little packet that has your root tab fertilizer, and then also this little crystal right here is a water dechlorinator, so it's a water conditioner. Alright, so basically what you do, so this one is medium size, and what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to take my substrate, and as you can see, this one has already been rinsed. So you're going to want to take this substrate and put it, like, go to a sink and then add some water to it in a container, stir it up just a little bit, and then dump the water off. Do that 2 or 3 times. It's going to be very cloudy because this is a very dusty material. The substrate is actually a black type of clay. So you'll never get rid of all the cloudiness, but it does knock it down quite a bit. So once you've done that 2 or 3 times, that's good enough. Then just drain it out, and then like it just goes in there. So before we do that, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a pair of scissors, which I don't have. Thank you. So I took a pair of scissors to open up this thing, and this is the fertilizer. So this is a root tab. This just is a very generic basic fertilizer for plants. I'm putting it down there in the bottom of the container, so you can see it down there. And I'm just going to kind of put it in the middle-ish, but it doesn't really matter that much. And the whole idea here is that will give the plants, like the plants that have roots, will have some kind of nutrients that are in the soil for them. Once I've done that, then I just take this, just dump it on in, because that fertilizer tablet, the carrier for it is clay as well. So once it gets wet, it does kind of make like a kind of an orange cloudiness to it, so you want to keep it covered if possible. So at this point we can do 2 things. We can either go ahead and start planting our plants, or we can start filling it with water. It will be a little cloudy once you first fill it, but all of that will settle down, and then it will be very clear. Like you can see, all the ones back in the back are clear. So this one in particular, we have a moss ball. This is a little Marimo moss ball, which is technically a type of algae. And then also we have a Bella palm. So Bella palm is a semi-aquatic or an emergent plant. What that means basically is that the top of it, where the leaves are, needs to stay out of the water. The good side to that is that it is much easier to take care of because of that, because it doesn't, like when an underwater plant also is very dependent on if you have algae in the tank, things like that, that can really hinder its ability to get light, and also CO2, like the water conditions, you know. So it's nice to have them above the water so you can get ambient CO2. It's just like a house plant, basically. So with this one, I'm just going to make a little divot back here, and I'm going to plant it in. So kind of just like that. I need like a little tool to do that, maybe this thing. I would use planting tongs, but I mean, who has planting tongs, right? So I'm just using a little pen, just like that. And
I've noticed in the ones that I planted that if I just put half the substrate in and then put the plant in and then the other half, it actually helps cap it.
Yeah.
So I would just put in half the substrate, put in the plant, and then put the other half, because it makes it a lot easier. Definitely.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So this is the little moss ball. Moss balls don't really need a substrate, so you can just put this in a jar of water if you wanted to. So the 2 of them are in there, and now we're just going to add the water. But first we're going to add this little crystal, this little dechlorinating crystal. And you really only need this if you're going to use tap water. If you're using like a bottled water, drinking water, if your tap water has a filter on it, you don't really need to use this. This just kind of makes sure that the water doesn't have chlorine in it, so it's not going to hurt the plants.
And you just put that one in there just to be
clear.
Yep,
I just dropped it in there. It will dissolve over time. So I'm going to pour it in there and hopefully not make too much of a mess. Let's just go about halfway.
Sometimes I pour it on my hand so it trickles in there.
Yeah.
It'll help not disturb as much.
You can see that it's really cloudy, but it's actually already clearing up. Because we did rinse it really well, it's not going to take too long to clean up. So, pretty good. So that's basically it, right? That's kind of the deal. Most of these plants, some of them are emergent where they need to be above the water. Some of them are completely completely submerged. So different types that we have. The dragon's tongue, which is this guy right here. This is Hemigraphis rapanda. I'll actually pull this one out right here. And this one is one that needs to be above the water. You can tell it actually has some little flowers on it. So this one, and basically you can have it in the water, but you just want to have the leaves above the water, at least the bulk of the leaves. The leaves that are under the water will possibly just die off because they just don't have a underwater form. So that's one of the ones that stays above water. The Bella palm, as we just showed, stays above the water. The other ones that stay above the water are the bamboo. So this is a lucky bamboo, which is a type of Dracaena. This one stays above water as well, which works out because it's already super tall anyway, so it's going to stick out of the water no matter what. Some of the other ones though, the Anubias, the moss balls, the Java ferns. This is a little Anubias Nana Petite, and this one is actually perfectly fine underwater, but it can grow above water as well. So if the water level gets too low, it may be just fine, like this one over here. You see the water level has dropped in this one, but it is still fine because some of them can kind of do both things. So it's important to know with the ones you have of what they can and can't do. That way you know what you can and can't do with them. So yeah, that's basically it. It's pretty simple. So you guys can add crystals to them as well. So if you want to add crystals to it, if you want to use crystals chips instead of plant substrate, you can do that too. We just do the plant substrates because we want to try to do what's best for the plants to grow really well, but they don't necessarily need it. Like it's kind of like picking a sports car over like a little economy car type thing. You want, do you want it to like go fast, or do you want it just to get you where you're going? You can use either one, but they definitely need fertilizer, so that's why our pack kind of all comes together with the things that just the basic things you would need. As far as lighting goes, pretty much a basic room light is enough for most of these plants. They will do better if there is a direct light. Maybe if you have a desk lamp or something that's nearby, putting some extra light, or if they are near a window, it's usually pretty good. However, just keep an eye out because it could start showing algae in there because there may be too much light. So if you see that happening, you would just take this thing, just slowly drain it out, put some new water in. That usually deals with the issue. So,
and what type of water is best for refilling if they don't have any dechlorinated crystals?
Definitely just do drinking water, any kind of bottled water, or you can use tap water as well, preferably filtered tap water. Or if you have dechlorinator from a fish tank, you can use that as well in your tap water. It's just, and it's mainly, it's not that tap water probably won't kill the plants, right, most of the time, but it's just a means to just try to be as safe as possible because we don't even want to make the risk happen. So that's basically the whole idea behind that. But yeah, that's basically it. And if you guys have any questions or comments, just let us know. And we'll have more plant varieties and things as we go. But these are kind of like the bulletproof ones that do well for us and have done well for us. And we're just kind of working with those right now. And then as we kind of evolve and step it up, someone wants to go with the higher intensity demanding plants, things like that, we can always go there. And I think that's where we are going. So yeah, thanks so much. And if you have any questions, just send us a message or comment. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications whenever we do make a post or we go live. All right, thanks guys. Bye.